Question number 4. The program flowchart represents a simple algorithm. This is a flowchart that represents an algorithm. Write the equivalent pseudocode for the algorithm represented by the flowchart. So we will follow this flowchart to generate a pseudocode. Let's start with input user ID, which will stay the same, input user ID. Then this represents a model. So here we will call the model اللي هي اسمها get average واللي فيها one parameter user ID, and this model will be assigned to a variable named average, and done. Then we will set total and index, total to 0 and index to 4. Okay, here let's look at the flowchart. When we find the diamond, this means يا إما loop وإلا conditional statement, if else statement. Here it's clear that it is a loop because we will do something, 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 then we will go back again to check again. So this is a loop. But the second diamond is an if else statement because we are not going to check again. This is a loop. Let's start with the loop. It is a precondition ولا post condition ولا count controlled loop، واحدة من ثلاثة. لأن it's clear that it is a precondition loop because the condition is checked before the content of the loop. Precondition loop معناها while وإلا repeat. لهنا we will go with the while because we will check the condition before doing any operation. So we will do this path only if this condition is correct. That's why we will use the while index less than 7. Dash and while, and all this path, the red one is inside, must be inside the while. Okay, let's go inside the while and start converting this to pseudocode. We will set last to same month index. Same month index باش نحطوه في last, and this is done. Now we have a diamond shape. This is an if else statement. If average greater than last, so we are in the yes, so we will do this. We will add average to total. Total will be total plus average. This is the yes. The no معناها else. We will add the last to total. Total تولي فيها total plus last. And if In both cases, we will go here, then we will do this. So in both cases, يعني after the if else statement, we will add one to index index plus one. اوكي، كملنا مع ال red statements اللي هما inside the while. Now let's go to the no of the while، معناها خرجنا من loop and we are going to call a model اسمها update. كيفاش عرفت اللي this is a model? Because the shape of the model is like this. So let's call update with two parameters, user ID and total. What else? That's all. So this is what we should put in our answer to get the 6 points. We should put it here. Give the name of the iterative construct in the flowchart. We use the while loop. The while loop is a pre-condition loop. That's all. كان استعملنا repeat until here باش نقولوا له post condition loop. كان استعملنا الفور باش نقولوا له count controlled loop. هنا استعملنا الوايل so pre-condition loop. Question 5. Examine the following pseudocode. If A equal true, then if B equal true, then if C equal true, then we will call a subroutine sub1. Else معناها وقت اللي else هذا تابع ال if هذه، يعني وقت اللي A equal true and B equal true and C equal false وقتها we will call sub2. And if same thing here. What's the question? The programmer wants to rewrite the pseudocode as 4 separate if, then, and if statements, each containing a single call statement. This involves writing a single simplified logic expression as the condition in each statement. Write the amended pseudocode. So we will يعني each call statement تكون وحدها with the conditions متاعها. 1 2 3 4 5 6 calls باش يوليو 4 calls كل واحدة وحدها. Let's start with call sub1. Call sub1. When we call sub1 وقت اللي A will be with C equal true. So نحط conditional بتاع sub1 if A and B and C, then call sub1 and if نقولوا if A معناها if A equal true. This is for sub1. For sub2 we will call sub2 when this is sub2 when A equal true, when B equal true, but when C equal false because it is in the else. So we can say if A and B and not C, then we will call sub2 and if sub 3. when we call sub 3 لهنا عندنا sub 3 is called in two conditions. The first one وقت اللي ركزوا مليح لهنا وقت اللي b equal true و c equal true, but we are already in the else of if a equal true. معناها we are already when a is false. معناها وقت اللي ال a is false will be true وال c true. وقت اللي not a not a and b, and we are here, we are in the else of if c equal true, so we are in the c equal false and not c. But also sub 3 is called here when لهنا we are in the else of the b equal true. So here when b equal false and not b and c equal false already there, and we are of course in the a equal false. نزلنا لأن ال a equal false هذه تابعة الكل. It is already there, no need to repeat. This is a correct statement, but you can see that there is something not logic and B and not B. B and not B in both cases, sub 3 will be called, so we don't need to talk about B. خاطر whatever the B, sub 3 will be called. آخر واحدة اللي هي sub 4. sub 4 sub 4 will be called when we still in the not A. If not A, sub 4 لهنا we are in the else of the C equal false. معناها we are in the C equal true. If not A and C, then call sub 4 and done. هذم the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one يتحطوا لهنا وتاخد ال 4 points متاعك. Question 6. The factorial of an integer number is the product of all the integers from that number down to 1. You know this. In general, the factorial of n is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 حتى يكشل 1. For example, the factorial of 5 is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 اللي هو 120. In this question, n will be referred to as the base number. The function find base number will be called with a positive non-zero integer value as a parameter, return base number if the parameter value is the factorial of the base number, return minus 1 if not, is not factorial also. For example, if we put 120 in the parameter of the function find base number, it will give us 5 because 5 factorial equal 120. If we give 12 to the function find base number, it will give us minus 1 because 12 is not a factorial of anything. If we give 6 to the function that we will create, the function will give us 3 because 6 is 3 factorial. So we will do the reverse of the factorial. We will not find the factorial, but we will find the base number of a factorial. باهي قبل ما نبداو خلينا ناخذ النقطة نتاع الهادر نتاعنا. الفانكشن نتاعنا اسمها find base number وتاخذ one parameter نسميه this value for example اللي هو type نتاعو integer و find base number هذه is a function because it returns a value uh, and this value is also an integer, so this function will return an integer value. And the function في الآخر 7 توا ولا 6 دبرنا نقطة. يلا let's try to understand more the problem. Let's say the parameter value is, for example, 6. Value returned must be 3. So if the user give us 6, the function لازمها ترجع لنا 3. Not the user. Let's say if the parameter, if this value, the parameter اللي أنا سميته, if this value is 6, the function returns 3. Why 3? Because 1 times 2 times 3 equal 6. This is what we have to find, the 3. So it's easy. We will multiply numbers starting from 1, 2, 3 until we get this value. If this value is 120, we will multiply. Of course, we will need a for loop. 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, and each times we will check, are we in 120? No, we will multiply times 4. Are we in 120? No, we will multiply times 5. Are we in 120? Yes, so we will return the 5. So here we need a variable باش نجربوا بيه وصلنا لل 120 وإلا لا. Let's name it try. 1 times 2 is a try. Try is different than 120, so 1 times 2 is 2. Let's try 2 times 3 is 6. No, let's try 6 times 4. No, let's try 5 times الباقي كله حتى كي try تولي equal to this value. This is the general idea. Of course, this try shouldn't exceed the 120. So we will uh, we will make a loop while try less than or equal to this value, and then try will be equal to try times the number 1 2 3 4 اللي هي a number that must increment. Let's name it number, and each time number باش تزيد واحد وباش نضربه في التراي كل مرة. Then we will check if التراي اللي احنا قاعدين نحسبوا فيها وصلت ل this value, then we will say done, or we will raise the flag. وكما فهمتكم في الفيديو نتاع الفلاج اللي فات, the flag is so useful to solve many problems like this one. لهنا we will create a flag نسميه found. flag is a boolean variable, وندخلوا للloop found is false, معناها we didn't find anything. when try is equal to this value, وقتها found اللي هي كانت false وقتها باش نردوها true. عبارة لهنا هزينا علم ولقينا الفاليو متاعنا. and if and while. We will repeat this blue loop مادام try ما زالت ما وصلتش ل this value, and also مادام found is false. اللي ما تفرجش في الفيديو متاع الفلاج يرجع يتفرج فيه, because the flag can solve many problems like this one. لهنا حطينا boolean variable false ودخلنا لللوب وقلنا باش نعاودوا اللوب مادام الفاوند is false. اما وقت اللي نلقاو التارجت نتاعنا الفاوند نردوها true. why؟ باش ما نعاودوش اللوب خاطر وصلنا للأوبجيكتيف نتاعنا. ايه وقت اللي نوصلوا للأوبجيكتيف نتاعنا نخرجوا because this is a function and it must return value. شنو هي الفاليو؟ if الفاليو ما ينجم يكون minus 1 والا النمبر عدد المرات اللي ضربنا فيها. if found equal true, then we will return the number اللي قاعدين نضربوا فيه. else we will return minus 1 خاطر هو قال لنا لهنا وقت اللي when we can't find the base number we return minus 1. Here the found in this else the found is equal false means مهما عملنا tries the found didn't reach the objective, so found is false, so we will return minus 1. شنو ناقص؟ نرجعوا نديكلاريو ال variables نتاعنا. we use the number we used the try the try here must be initialized to 1 and the number must be initialized to 0. Be careful here. When you have a variable like try and you are using multiplication with this variable, initialize it to 1, not 0. When you have a variable and you will increment it using a plus, initialize it to 0. This is initialization phase. Before this, we need to declare these variables and a number on a try as integers, one found as boolean. شنو آخر شنو آخر This is declaration, this is initialization, this is the loop, this is output or the return. The program is written to allow the user to input a sequence of values this time, and we will use the find base number with a sequence of value, not only one value. The user will input one value at a time. The variable used to store the user input has to be of type string because the user will input and to the end of the program. Chatina values 120, 6, 12 and كيعطينا and نخرجوا ونخرجوا له ثلاثة البيس. Valid input will be converted to an integer and passed to the parameter of this function. Complete the table by giving 4 invalid strings. 4 invalid strings. Let's give a string, for example, 120 to 6 without giving an and, because the and is mandatory. The reason of the choice is there is no and. And we can also give a string that cannot be converted to an integer, like 6.3, which is a decimal number. This cannot be converted to integer. We can give an empty string, something else not valid. We can give a negative value, -1, for example. That's all.